So I know there was some miscommunication on whether or not this is set for a contested or not. Are you all proceeding with it? All right. Court is calling 2020 CR 11967 State versus David Galvan Signs. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Duffy Pitlock for the state of Texas, Your Honor.
John Wilson for the defendant, Mr. Sines.
And are you Mr. Signs?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Signs, did you review the document entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yeah.
It's the document that tells you what you're being accused of not completing. All right, did you review that with your attorney?
Yes.
You gotta have to speak up.
Yes.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
Are you the same David Galvan Signs who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2020 CR 11967 for the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1 gram to 4 grams on January 19, 2021 for a period of 2 years? Is that you?
This case has it all: probation violations, drug tests, and a probation officer who, well, let's just say his memory isn't exactly photographic. We're in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, David Galvan Signs, who's been on deferred adjudication probation for possession of a controlled substance. Now the state says he broke the rules twice. Once for alcohol, once for meth. Simple enough, right?
All right, state, you may proceed.
Violation of condition number 2. On or about the 15th day of July, 2022 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, David Galvan Signs, did then and there consume alcoholic beverages in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead, true or not true?
Not true.
Violation of condition number 2. On or about the 22nd day of July, 2022 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, David Galvan Signs, did then and there illegally use a controlled substance, namely methamphetamines, in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that, true or not true?
Not true.
All right. State, do you have any witnesses?
We do, Your Honor. The state would like to call CSO Brian Leesman, last name spelled Leesman.
All right. Any objection to the witness appearing by Zoom, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Officer Leesman, if you can unmute for me, please. Could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Brian Leesman.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Howdy, Mr. Leesman. Who is your current employer?
It is Bexar County Adult Probation.
And how long have you been with adult probation in Bexar County?
18 years.
And is it regular practice for you to read conditions of probation or deferred in court?
Yes.
Did you read conditions in this case to the defendant, David Galvan Signs?
I believe that was done by intake, but I usually, when they come in the first time, I usually go over all the conditions with them again. So I know this case happened 2021. Let me see.
But wait until you hear how shaky the testimony gets. The judge kicks things off by asking if we're dealing with a contested hearing or not. The state and defense say they're ready, so here we go. State of Texas versus David Galvan Signs. The prosecutor announces 2 violations. On July 15, 2022, David allegedly tested positive for alcohol. On July 22, 2022, he allegedly tested positive for meth. David pleads not true to both, which, of course, sets the stage for some drama. The state calls probation officer Brian Leesman. And right away, things get fuzzy.
I'm pretty sure. I know. I'm pretty confident I went over all the conditions, but the intake should have gone over it with him when he did orientation.
So by the time defendant would have gotten to you, that would have been his second time hearing the conditions.
Yes, sir.
Speculation, Your Honor.
All right, that'll be overruled. You can answer the question.
Yes.
Do you have a date that those would have been read to the defendant, explained to him by you?
Let me go back in my chronos. It looks like let me see. Since this was such an old case, I kind of had to go back and look at everything. I know he had a motion to revoke issued early in the probation because I think it was for failure to report. So we didn't report for March and April of 2021, which is why I think there was a motion to revoke issued at that point. I can tell you when he did intake.
Would that be the day that he was granted probation?
Let's see, I believe they were doing it over Zoom during that time because of COVID. Let's see. So it looks like, yeah, January 21st of 2021.
That was the date that you went over the conditions with probationer, correct?
That's when it looks like he did his initial intake with Jonathan Trejo, one of the intake officers, and it's chronoed in here that he went over conditions with him at that point.
Is there a note in the chronos of you going over those conditions again subsequent to that intake date?
Let's see. Actually, yes. Actually, I saw him I guess he came in on the 26th of January, 2021. Let me see. Actually, I believe he reported by phone. That was during the COVID-19, so they weren't coming in. I did chrono that. I said this CSO reminded the defendant of his conditions. We'll conduct a Zoom interview with the defendant next week. So yes, I did chrono that on.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, the court will take judicial notice of the defendant's conditions of probation.
Mr. Leisman, what signature or whose signature do you see on that document, probation officer wise?
Lehman admits he's been doing this for 18 years. Solid. But when asked about David's probation conditions, he keeps going back to his chronos, basically probation notes in the system. He can't quite remember if he read David the rules, or if another officer did. His answers: I believe, I'm pretty sure, and I think. Not exactly confidence-inspiring. When asked about the first violation, Lehman says David tested positive for alcohol. The problem:
I see Jonathan Trejo.
And what date do we have?
I see January 21st, 2021.
Do we see defendant's signature on that document?
Yes.
What does the signature made by probation officer Trejo mean?
It means, I can't vouch for him. Usually I would assume it would mean that you read and explained the conditions to them.
If you had been the officer reading those and then you signed it, is that what your signature would have meant?
Irrelevance, Your Honor.
Overrule.
You may answer the question, sir.
Yes.
Do you recognize the defendant here in court today?
Yes.
May you please describe the defendant by an article of clothing?
Wearing an orange jumpsuit.
Let the record reflect, probation officer has accurately identified the defendant. Now, today we have alleged two violations. The first violation, on or about the 15th day of July, 2022 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, David Galvan signs, did then and there consume alcoholic beverages in violation of condition number 2. In your chronos, what do we know about that violation? Do you remember that violation?
Let me go back real quick. Yes, I mean, it was a violation of condition number 2.
And so please describe how we would come to getting this violation.
The defendant would have submitted to a drug test, urinalysis, and come back positive.
Is this at a facility?
Yes, it's either in our office or it could have been at the RMS downtown, recovering monitoring solutions.
And is this an appointment or would it have been random the day of?
This one I would have to see, but I know he was supposed to be taking weekly drug tests as ordered by the judge. So in this case, I believe he was just doing weeklies. And I'm pretty sure I ordered him probably maybe every Wednesday or Friday or something like that.
And on July 15th, 2022, what did defendant test positive for?
He tested positive for alcohol.
Is that a violation of his conditions?
Yes.
And how do we know that there was alcohol in that test?
He doesn't have the actual test results scanned into the system, just his notes. And for the meth charge a week later, same deal. Notes say positive, but no hard evidence sitting in front of the court. Then defense swoops in. They press him, so, you're basing your testimony on your own notes, but you don't have the actual documents. Lehman admits, yeah, he'd probably need to dig through an outside website to find the results. And even then, he's not sure because the site may have been reset. That's when he slips in a gem. I'm kind of trying to understand why this is being contested because we're recommending terminate unsat. Translation. Probation is basically ready to cut David loose unsatisfactorily. So why are we even here? Ouch, imagine being on trial and the key witness keeps saying, I believe, I think, I guess. That's not evidence. That's the kind of thing you say when you're guessing what's in the fridge at home. And let's be real, if the probation office is already saying just terminate unsat, that doesn't exactly scream slam dunk case for the state. By the end of the hearing, the judge has to weigh 2 shaky positive tests with no actual lab slips in evidence against a probation officer who clearly just wants to close the file. Whether David walks away or not depends on how much faith the court puts in those chronos.
It's what we get from the results for recovering monitoring solutions.
And is any detectable amount of alcohol a violation?
I believe so. Yes.
The second violation the state has alleged is another violation of condition number 2, on or about the 22nd day of July, 2022. In Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, David Galvan Signs, did then and there illegally use a controlled substance, namely methamphetamines, in violation of condition number 2. Do you remember this violation?
Yes.
How many days after the first violation did we get this second violation?
Approximately seven days.
And do you know if it was done at the same testing facility?
I would assume it was definitely done through recovery monitoring solutions, so through the same provider. Yes.
And what was it that defendant tested positive for on the 22nd day of July, 2022?
Methamphetamines.
Is that in violation of the conditions of his probation?
Yes.
And do you know if it was a blood or a urine test?
It was a urine test.
And how do we know that there was methamphetamines?
We received results from recovering monitoring solutions that confirmed positive for methamphetamine.
Your Honor, the state passes the witness.
All right, defense, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Leesman, just so I understand completely your testimony here. These records that you're reading about these violations, who input that into the chronology?
I have to see. I'm guessing it was me, but I know now Okay, who filed the MTR? That was me.
Now, you've had a difficult time identifying the provider, whether it was in office or at the recovery contractor.
Yeah, Recovery Monitoring Solutions is in our office. Like they conduct drug testing in our office. So basically there's different locations. There's a location downtown, and then they basically come to different offices around, our regionalized offices. So during certain days of the week. So every drug test has been through Recovery Monitoring Solutions.
So within Mr. Sign's file, is there some type of a result from that test that is attached? Is it a slip? Is it a document of some type?
Go back. I don't have anything scanned in here. I would have to go. There's nothing scanned into my system as far as the actual results. But if I go to the Recovery Monitoring Solution website, I might be able to find it. I think they reset their website though.
So you're basing the totality of your testimony today just based upon the chronology that's in the system in front of you. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
And you've said more than one response this morning, either I believe or I'm pretty sure. There's no amount of certainty to any of the answers you've been given, is there?
Like I said, this happened so long ago as far as the, I'd have to go through everything to see exactly what happened.